I started by taking the top half of a Sepron model that I made a while back, and then I joined it together with the bottom half of a crocodile head, which I got online from Sketchfab, but I was gonna have to redo it in low poly. So I made a new shape, and as you can see it has a lot of extra vertices like I'm adding right here, and then I'm pulling them on top of the x-axis just to get them perfectly straight so that they don't bend the wrong way. So then I went by hand and I just did all the vertices to get the right face shape, as you can see here. When I hide the base mesh, you'll see I only have half of the face, but that's perfectly fine because we can just use the mirror modifier, and then if you set it to the x-axis it mirrors it, and then you have the full head, which is really helpful. So after a while of creating all the spikes and giving some extra detail in the ridges, I added the nose, and then also, if you can see, I added the eyeball, which will be reduced in quality. But then here I just went ahead and made some more of those ridges. It makes it look like it has scales, and it adds a lot of character really quickly, and this was a lot of fun to do. So then over here I went into sculpt mode, and since there aren't many vertices, it's quite easy to get a nice shape. I just made his jaw a bit more bulky to match with the reference images I have. I made one tooth, and then I just copied it all over and pasted it while in the side view, and then I moved them across the x-axis, and then I rotated them one by one. There could be a quicker way to do this, but I like to do it by hand because then I'm in full control. So then over here I just rescale some of the teeth to make them a bit more different. And then we apply a mirror modifier, and then we copy all of them over, and that's the teeth done. So I also added a tongue, which was pretty easy to do, and then I just scale it to get it the right size to fit in the mouth and make the teeth visible again, and that's the whole head. Next was the body, and for this I used a curve which I gave a round shape, and then I just pulled all the vertices out to get the segments of the body, because I intended to scale them down a bit later. So these points would then determine the thickness of the body throughout. So here I was making the spikes on Sepron's body, because if you look at the source material, he has spikes on the ends of his tail, but not on the rest of his body. Sometimes it's the whole spine, but other times it's only at the tip. So I went ahead and made it at the back half of the body. Over here I was connecting the neck to the rest of the body because the number of vertices had to be converted to line up correctly with the head. So then I was just smoothing it out in sculpt mode, and then we were done. Next I made the collar that you see in the cover of the book, and when you read the book you'll actually find out that the collar is gold and not silver as depicted in the cover illustration, which is quite interesting. That's why I chose to also make mine golden, to fit with what the book says instead of what the cover shows. So next up I had to make the seaweed hair. So Sepron, he has this mane of seaweed going from his skull, and then he also has seaweed running along his spine. So later I copied many of these hair segments and put them on the side, so I could just copy and paste them along the head and the neck, and then I could just readjust them with the grab brush in sculpt mode, which worked quite well. And my intention was to do only one side, and then I would copy it over by using the mirror modifier once again. Now I deleted all the extra hairs, and I took the whole clump of of hair pieces, I call it hair, and then I just copy and paste them along the spine on different sizes. So here we have the coloring process. I chose to use a standard process where you scale down all the UVs of the entire creature and you put them onto 1 pixel of color, which makes everything the same color, and then you go into edit mode for each object, you select everything, and then you drag their UVs onto the pixel you want, so you get nice flat colors that are shaded quite nicely when you put on some extra lighting in the scene. I gave him a nice green color for his body, and then darker green for the seaweed hair, white for the teeth and the eyes, as well as pink for the inside of the mouth, and some red pupils, because he has those red pupils in the cover image. So finally I'm just touching up the tongue now. As you can see, I'm just giving it that nice pink color which I got off of the cover, and there we go. He is now textured, so the only thing left is to render him. This is how the render came out after using a 3-point lighting setup and using some bones to move his body into a pose where he's slithering through the water. It really does change the appeal when you give him all these curves, and it really brings him to life. So that's Sepron the Sea Serpent made in Blender. I hope all of you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.